title of tonight's webinar is How to Get Out of Debt in Your Business by Increasing Your Business Profits using the 5 ways, which we'll take you through this evening. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope you get great value from the webinar. And most importantly, at the end of the webinar tonight, both Kevin and I will make an offer to you which may be of value to you. We know it is of value to anyone who takes it up. But it contains lots of good stuff that you can take away with you, and we hope you take advantage of it. Okay, so more about that later on. So we get straight into the webinar then, and our agenda is that we'll do a quick introduction in terms of who I am and who Kevin is, introduce a few rules of the game, and the rules of the game are basically, there's lots to be had from this. Get a pen and paper. If you have a question, type it in on the right-hand side of the screen there, and we'll get to it as the night progresses. Any question you want, just type it in, and as long as it's obviously relevant to what we're talking about, we'll do our best to answer it tonight. If we can't answer it tonight, we'll answer it offline for you later on. So whatever happens, we're going to try and add as much value to you tonight as possible. Okay, the thrust, as I said before, is how to get out of debt faster by increasing your profits. We've seen for so long now how people are caught up by the debt that they have, and they're making payments. It's all about cash flow, and it's all about breaking even every month because there's so much debt. And very often, what we find in our roles, both Kevin and I, Kevin as an accountant and me as a business coach, we find that a lot of the debt that people have is actually personal debt that they acquired during the good years, and the business now is struggling to actually keep up with people to repay that personal debt. And that compounds itself when you have people that owe you money. The reason they owe you money in a lot of cases is they have personal debt as well. So what we want to do tonight is to try and help businesses to get out of that kind of conundrum by focusing on increasing their own sales. And the key theory then is the 5 ways to increase profitability, which we'll cover in detail this evening. We expect the webinar tonight will last for probably about 40 minutes. And after that, we'll take any questions that you may have. We'll answer questions as we go as well. Okay, so we'll get straight into it. As I said before, we'll have an offer at the end, which is of great value to businesses should they take us up on that offer. But it's a limited offer, and it's available for those who attend the webinar tonight only, because this will also be recorded if you want to go back over it again. Okay, well, just a brief introduction about who I am. I'm a business coach with the Action Coach franchise. I've been a business coach since 2002, and in that time we've won many awards, basically for the results that we get with our clients and for the way that we run our own business as well. We've also been recognized from the Irish Franchising Association. I built my business through word of mouth primarily, through networking, and I'm a big believer in it's about who knows you is so important. I love the whole direct sales and marketing industry. I love helping businesses succeed and do better. I own this business, and I'm involved in a few other businesses as well. And I've had numerous training roles over the past 9-10 years. Okay, so I'll pass on to Kevin, and let Kevin take the next 2 slides.
Thanks, Derek. Good evening to you. Kevin Barry here. How are you? I am, unfortunately, I've been an accountant since I left school nearly. I did 3 years in DCU, joined Pricewaterhouse in Dublin, and sometimes we call them Price Watergate. And then I headed off to the Cayman Islands for 3 years. That was all in auditing and, the big stuff, faceless banks and companies, and all you saw was numbers of zeros and all that type of thing. But anyway, I came back to Ireland in 1994 for a holiday, and I'm still here. Obviously, was here before the boom, during the boom, and after the boom. I developed properties. I helped develop tax incentive schemes for small towns of 5,000 or less. Had got to the legislation actually on that. I own a number of businesses. I survived the air crash, which I didn't intend being in the first place, so back to basics now. And I'm in the middle of hopefully surviving the property crash. So it's been a bit of turmoil in the last 4 years for me. But funny enough, when you're in something you don't expect, like an air crash, you deal with so many issues that hit you literally between the 2 eyes, that as the big recession hit in Ireland and all the various problems that came with it, I found myself, easy enough able to cope with them from my clients. And So I'm very interested in business. I have websites, I network like you, Derek, and very invigorized by business. So I find that if a business excites me, the people want to get on, it's very easy to get up in the morning to work with people. So that's kind of what I do, but I'm a registered auditor, I'm a straightforward tax accountant as well, but the main issue is making money. If you can't make money, you won't have any tax to pay. Back to you, Derek.
You're still up, Kevin.
I'm still up. Okay. Thanks very much. Well, anyway, I'll push on here. Let's get started. The title of this is how to bring down your debt. Okay, and that's by catapulting your business forward. Now, I can tell you this: it's amazing how lethargic people are in pushing the business forward. You know, they'll talk a good game, and I'll give you one simple example, and we're going to deal with that list there straight off. New Year's Eve. Always when January hits, we're right at the peak time right now. Big decisions are made on New Year's Eve. They're selling the business, they're buying a business, they're firing people, they're leaving their partners, they're moving in with a partner, they're moving out of a partner. Whatever it is, there's a little turmoil period in the first couple of weeks of January. And in my now 15th year, just hit the 15th anniversary of business, that has never changed. But you don't need to have these big decisions on New Year's Eve or over Christmas. You know, if the business is making you money, whether you're there or not, and that's what a business is. So we'll hit with the first one there, and I can give a few examples on these. I find that most businesses, and Derek, I'm certain, is the same, because he taught me it, is that it's not easy, okay? So let's deal with the first thing. Obviously, when you're making a sale, you should be making a profit on the sale. And this is a big one. You have to get paid for it, and not alone get paid for it reasonably quickly, or at least in a manner that you're prepared for, such as, you know, in advance, a day or two after you deliver the service, like when you buy a drink at a pub, a week later, a month later, but not really much more than that. Okay, because if you don't get paid, obviously you owe money to the people who you bought the goods off, or you owe money to staff. A staff expects to get paid every week or every month, and if money isn't coming in at least as quick as that, you're going to start falling behind, and that's what hits with what hurts you with cash in and cash out. So if the money isn't coming in quick enough to match what's going out, you start going into overdraft, and people stop getting paid. And this is a very topical day, actually, because today is the deadline for when the VAT for 2010 has to be paid. So generally the VAT man is one man who does not get paid if you've had to use his money to pay other people because the cash isn't coming in quick enough. So that's really all business is. It's a merry-go-round, okay? Have you any comments on that, Derek? Or will I push on?
No, that's fine. I mean, I guess what we're trying to cover here is what we're going to deal with, kind of questions that people need to be asking themselves, you know, ones too, but please push on.
Yeah, so once you understand that, you know, the service or product that you make and sell or deliver has to be paid for in order for you to pay other people, and you're on top of that process, because the amount of people who are not on top of that process is staggering, and I use that word deliberately. And then the next point is, we'll go to Business 101-2. What are we doing to market our business? And this is how you address those items. If you do nothing else at the start of every day, just think about, how can I further my business today? Same with the next one. What are we doing to improve sales? An awful lot of people out there have customers who don't know everything that you sell. They think, for instance, they think the petrol guy sells just petrol, whereas he also does lunches. They think the pub just sells beer, whereas he also does rooms overhead. They think the accountant just sells accounts, when he might also do pensions and finance for your business. It goes on and on. And if you ask your customers, what do I sell, you'll be a bit surprised at how little they know about you. So what are you doing to improve sales? Tell the customers what you do sell is one of them. Sounds obvious. Believe me, not many know that. Who are our customers? Every customer you have today represents 100% of your sales. So you should at least know them, and you should at least stay in touch. And we'll touch a bit more on that now in a few minutes. Do the customers know what you do? You know, they probably think you do one item, but I think you sell jumpers, but actually you do a lot more than that. They might think that you only build new houses, whereas you also do renovations and you do extensions. And then the last one, am I making a profit from these customers? Some people just price in order to get the job as opposed to make money out of the job, and there is a huge difference. Knowing your costs, knowing your break-even point every day, and we'll come into that later on, but you should at least know the amount of money that it costs to run your business if no one comes in the door. So you're standing there, a couple of staff members are standing there, there's rent being paid, there's phones being paid, there's all this happening. It could be costing you 300, 400 euros a day to run the business. So you've got to make that in profit at least per day just to break even. So these are numbers, you just need to find them out once, write them up on the wall, and then push on. So we'll get a bit more into this now in a few moments. Okay, Derek?
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, before we get into it, I guess most people on the call tonight are business owners. And when we go throughout Ireland working with different clients, the biggest challenge that we have is getting people to take ownership of their business. So what we get a lot of the time, and what you'll hear all the time, are people blaming the weather, the economy, the staff, the customers, etc. They make excuses about why they're not hitting target. The biggest excuse right now is that nobody has any money. When in actual fact, there's actually still a lot of money out there, but people are holding on to their money a lot more than they were previously. There's also a lot of denial, and the biggest area of denial is denial that you're doing anything wrong. And I was in a situation myself just yesterday with the sales rep he didn't do his target last year. He did about 70% of his target last year. And his attitude was that nobody has any money and I'm working as hard as I can. Now, if he keeps doing that, he'll probably do the same figure again this year, which is absolutely no good to the business whatsoever. In fact, the business will probably lose money this year if he keeps doing that. But he wasn't initially prepared to change his approach at all. He kept contacting the same people who gave him easy business. He never went after the hard business because he was in denial. He blamed them for not returning his call. He made excuses that they were too far away. So our challenge to every business owner out there right now is to stop blaming, stop making excuses, stop being in denial. If you want your business to succeed, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to take ownership. And you've got to take ownership of the numbers within that business. So if your business needs 500,000 euro turnover this year to generate you a net profit of 50,000, well, you own that. So you've got to make a decision that if you want 50,000 euro from your business this year, then that you need to go and do whatever it takes to turn over the 500,000. You need to introduce accountability to your business. And if you go back to the previous slide when Kevin was talking about, the accountability is about, do you know how many sales you made today? Do you know the activity level you achieved today? Do you know how much your debtors are? Do you know how much your creditors are? Do you know what your stock level is? Do you know what your profit is at the end of every week? That's accountability. And introducing accountability right through your team is very important. And you need to be responsible for everything you do and you say, and you need to hold your team responsible as well for everything they do and they say. If you introduce a culture of above the line, which is giving ownership, holding people accountable, and making them responsible, you will have a more successful business. The whole point is that in business, you need to be successful. You cannot, or you never will meet a successful victim or someone who's below the line. They just don't exist, because that's not how the world works. The world rewards those who go and seek the opportunity. And even in simple GAA, football training terms, you have to go and attack the ball. You have to go and get the ball. The ball will never come to you. And if it does, it's probably a fluke, and you will not live on it for very long. So if you learn nothing, or if you take nothing away from today's webinar, take this. Get above the line in your behavior. And even I was talking on the way home this evening about, someone was saying, I must stop listening to Joe Duffy on the radio. Joe Duffy is bad for business owners because he spreads the seeds of doubt, he spreads the seeds of negativity, because he feeds on that, and that makes him wealthy, and it attracts advertisers to his show because there's a lot of people that are attracted to him. But I say to business owners, don't play that game. Don't subscribe to that station because it's not good for your profits. Okay? Now, as we're getting into the meat of the presentation, we've got a very simple formula for business success. We call it the action profit equation, the 5 ways to success. And if we ever put it out there that people want more profit, they say, I need more profit. The first thing they always do is they start marketing like that. And we say, stop. There's so much more you can do before you have to even go marketing. Now, it is a key element of it as well, but it's not all you can do. And we're going to take you through the 5 ways to increase your profits tonight. And you need to get a pen out, write them down, because they're critical to your future success. Okay, now this is what we call our chassis of business. Now, if you notice the things in red there, you've got the number of customers, the revenues you have, and the profits you make. They're the results that you get at the end of your game. So the number of your customers are the result of your marketing and sales game. So it's thought about by the number of leads that you get as a result of your marketing, multiplied by your ability to convert them into customers. Once you have the customers, then the secret then is to get them to buy off you more often, which is the number of transactions, and each time you want to increase the amount that they spend with you. So if you multiply your number of customers by your number of transactions, by your average average sale value, that gives you your revenue. You then, that's the end of the revenue game, you then multiply that by the margin you make, and that will give you the profit, which is what we're all about in this business. We're in business to make a profit. But so many people lose track of it because they're too focused on revenue, too focused on the number of customers. The key thing is profit. So set yourself a profit target. How much do you need to make this year to give you a good year? I'll give you an example of a typical business. Okay, so this business has 8,000 leads or inquiries in the year. It has a conversion rate of 25%, so every 1 in 4 people they convert into a customer. That gives them 2,000 customers. Now those 2,000 customers transact with them twice per year. And each time they transact, on average, they spend €100. Now it could be that some of the customers spend €10. It could be that some spend €500. It doesn't matter. The average is 100. It could be that some of them transact with them every month. It could be that some of them transact with them once every 2 or 3 years. It doesn't matter. It's just an average. And you can find those numbers in your business as well. So once you multiply your 2,000 customers by 2 transactions by 100, that will give you a sales of €400,000 for the year. And in this particular business, they have a margin of 25%, which gives them a net profit at the end of the year of 100,000. Nice business to have. So what we try and do then is we try and say, okay, how do we increase the profitability of this business, and where should we focus our attention on first? And the immediate response that you'd always get, if you refer back to what I said previously, the immediate response you get is that we better market more because we need to increase our profits. We say no. And this is the order in which we actually address each of those areas in terms of increasing it. So the first thing that we tackle is margins. Okay, that's the very first thing that we tackle. After that, we tackle conversion rate. After that, we tackle average sale. After that, number of transactions, and after that, number of leads. Now, we'll go through each of those in as much detail as we can, but I'll hand back to Kevin just to talk about how do you actually increase the margins in your business, where are the key areas you need to look at, and what are the quick wins you can have if you actually focus a bit of attention on it. And the reason I'm asking us to concentrate on this is because a lot of the people that register for the seminar tonight want to have issues with credit control, issues with collecting money, issues with finding money. So, Kevin.
Thanks, Derek. The margin. I guess straight in on the credit control. Okay, it's if you didn't have to employ a credit controller, you're probably going to save yourself 30,000. So, in other words, if you're not chasing money, there's an immediate saving there. Okay, so this is the order of items. Number one is you need to know the cost of what you're selling or making. Okay, so an awful lot of people just go on the market price out there. They'll charge what the market is used to paying. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is what are you making it for, and not waiting until the end of the year to see, did I make money this year or did I not, which a surprising amount of people do. Okay, so Michael Leary might sell a flight for €1, but by the time he has on taxes and people get put off the plane or don't make the plane, he's actually sold the same seat 3 or 4 times in the end, you know. So there's one. But the first thing is know your costs. So if you're a service industry and you're selling a meal and you expect to sell, or you need to sell 50 meals in order to cover the cost of making those meals and paying the wages of the person who cooked it and handed it out, know your costs. A restaurateur one time, he was selling a breakfast for €3. I said, how can you sell it so cheap? And he answered, it cost him a pound and a penny to put it on the plate. And he knew his costs. I didn't know his costs. I still thought it was too cheap, you know. So there's one. But let's talk about the getting paid. Nothing is more soul-destroying and a complete waste of time than chasing money. And ringing up first and asking first and arguing over it and then hearing complaints 6 months after you finished the job or sold the item. The people say, well, I wasn't happy, and they're trying to knock you down, and the good has gone out of it. So a couple of things here. When you're making the sale and in advance of making the sale, you need to have your terms of sale clearly defined. Now, it's easy to say that, but they need to be written down on the website, on your invoice, or when you sign the contract for the sale. Okay, so people do expect when they order a beer to pay for there and then. Okay, so the man is there with his hand out to collect the money, so there's no problem there. And on occasion, there's trouble getting paid for a pint, but it won't happen twice. Okay, so if it's let's go to the service industry. Okay, if you're in the service industry, this is new practice in Ireland, but it works very well. Ask for money up front. Okay, the reason you do that is because if people aren't willing to pay you a retainer based on what you've sold yourself on, or your brochure, or your sales pitch, or the credibility that allows someone to refer you to that person. If your deal is, for this service, I'm going to do it for you for €1,000, these are the terms. 500 at the start, 500 at the end. If that's said right at the very start, it's done, and everyone can understand that. And if they won't pay you the retainer, they're not going to pay you. Okay, so you've saved yourself a lot of grief down the road. Now, this is the big one. The second point that goes here is you have to make yourself very easy to pay. Forget, that it's only going to be a check. Okay, there's 5 or 6 items here, and take a note of these. You should be able to accept laser cards, every credit card that's out there, checks obviously, credit transfers, cash, and draft, same thing. So if people want to mail money to you, they can do that. If they want to pay you by credit card, and let's just pretend you've got servicemen out on the road, those guys should have those mobile units that accept credit cards and laser cards. Now, they used to be about €1,500 each. They're not anything like that now. They're into hundreds. But when even if it costs you 400 or 500, and you pay them like over 3 years to release anyway, so you will never feel the cost on these. The fact of the matter is, if you have an electrician and he's out on a service call and it's €80 for a call out, and that includes the first hour of labour, when he arrives and the person can't find the checkbook and yet they want the shower fixed, if he has the credit card machine in the car, and he's a portable, the work of SIM cards and up to satellites, he can just run the card and take it there and then. The same way that when the call out is phoned in, the girl answering the phone could do it as well. But it depends on the circumstances, but you're better off with the lads when they're out there having these in the car, because in case there's any add-ons and you're not phoning back to the office. That's the second one. The third one is have www.paypal.com. Have a good look at that website. It's fairly detailed, but it's very good. But there's 3 options on that. And whether you accept multi-currencies from all over the world, because you're selling on eBay or you're selling globally, or whether you're a hotel just looking to get paid, or a B&B. The fact of the matter is, the customer can put their credit card into that securely. You don't have to worry about taking down numbers or running the cards. And the money literally lands in your bank account, and your emails about that. So it's making yourself easy to pay again. The third way, of course, is credit transfer or check, because everyone has access, whether they avail of it or not, to IIB banking and internet banking. And, accept a check, accept cash. Listen, cash is only a form of payment. Because it's cash, it doesn't mean it has to be hidden or anything like that. But you should be able to accept money in multiple ways, and that makes it easy for you to get paid. And the same way, whether you're getting paid retainers, be prepared to take standing orders. We have a system of work that if they pay us within 10 days, they get an amount of money off, and that amount of money is named on the invoice when they get it. So if you get an invoice from me for €1,000, it will say, pay within 10 days, you get €50 off. If you don't pay within 10 days, you get nothing off. And today I had a lady in who was 3.5 months late looking for a discount. And I said back to her, no discount. And she said she's leaving me. And I said, that's fine. But I said, were you unhappy with the work? I said, no, not at all. But I just wanted a discount. Well, I said, the whole town would be in here if they thought they couldn't pay us for 3 months. And then they got discounts at the end of it. So that isn't happening. So she'll probably come back, because she tried it on. But the rules of the game were set there in advance. So, but this is the key thing on margin. I'm not going to labour the point. If you're getting the money in, we all know this, it means you're not an overdraft. Because you're not an overdraft, there is an interest hitting your account every 3 months and just sickening you in the stomach. Because when you've just thought, I'm nearly out of overdraft, slip me another couple of thousand lands in there again in overdraft interest charges and surcharge interest. So that's that one. And this is the next thing. If you get into the plus at all, it means you're able to drive the hard bargains because now you're a cash buyer, and that's where you've got to be. So focus very, very hard, number one, on accepting all forms of payment and be imaginative in how you're going to get paid. Number two, set the rules up front on your website, on your invoices, on your brochures, and when your team is speaking to the customers. This is how we work, and this is how we intend to this is how we get paid. Choose the option that suits you. If the option is there that doesn't suit the customer, you don't want them. You can do without the brief. And the third thing is, teach the whole team and train the whole team to deliver that collection of cash. So, because believe me, you can't spend the rest of your life. And I have people in their late 50s ringing up looking for checks because they're so broke at the moment. And they shouldn't be in this position. You don't want to be there. But the margin will improve itself by just setting those goalposts. Back to you, Derek. I hope that's okay.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Just to kind of summarize there in terms of the margin, the key thing is know your margins, collect your money, and don't be afraid. It's your money, you've done the work. Do not be afraid to ask for your money, and that's the key thing. If we move on then, we're still, the focus of tonight is how to increase your profits to help you overall reduce your debt in your life. The next easiest way to work on that is to improve your conversion rate. And that's basically looking at the number of jobs that you win or pieces of work that you win versus the number of people that contact your business. So in the example that we had before there, the conversion rate is 25%. And that means that every 4 customers that come in, 1 was sold to, the other 3 went away, they weren't converted. Now the key thing, the reason why conversion rate is so easy to work on is that it's free. It's all about what you say to the customer, how you engage with the customer, how you relate to the customer, and how you build rapport with the customer. Yet it's the hardest one to convert because people hate to change because they think there's nothing wrong with them. And if we refer back to our original slide there, it's because people operate below the line. They'd rather blame something else or make an excuse rather than turn the spotlight back on themselves and ask the question, how could I be better? Why did I lose those 3 sales? Why did I do that? And the first area you can do immediately tomorrow to improve your conversion rate is to measure it. Just by measuring it makes you more attentive to the customer, it makes you more attentive to getting the sale, it makes you more attentive to following up, and that's all you have to do. Just measure your conversion rate. Count the number of people that come in, count the number of sales you get, that's your conversion rate. Whatever it is, celebrate it because you know it can be improved, and it's the last day you'll be at that. If you want a list of all the different things you can do to improve your conversion rate, you need to email me, and I'll show you my email address at the end of the show, but there's about 80 different things you can do in your business to improve conversion rate. If you have a retail business, the quickest, easiest, simplest thing you can do is to get each member of your staff to stop saying, can I help you? Because it's the biggest turn-off, because the standard answer to can I help you is no. If you engage them in a conversation, you've got them in a conversation, they're going to be in better form, they're more likely to buy from you. And just by getting them to stop saying that, it's a strategy that works time and time again, and we estimate that you can actually boost your conversion rate by about 10% if you're in retail by adopting that approach. Another good way of improving conversion rate if you operate a business where you quote for business and you chase business is to ask for the business. Very often people are afraid to ask for the business because they don't want to be rejected. So they say, oh, I'll leave that with you now and you can think about it. Well, that's wrong. He's thought about it. He has actually made his mind up while you're there. All you need to do is ask for it, and he'll probably give it to you. And if he says no, he's unlikely to change that no and say yes, but you're not there. So don't be afraid to ask for the business. The next thing we look at then is, we move on then, the next easiest way to focus on is the average sale, the average value sale, or the amount the customer could spend with you. So again, you're looking at, does the customer know everything that you sell? Do they know your entire range? Are you charging enough? Are you selling too cheaply? Have you shopped around? Is there complementary products you can sell? So the example we always use here is your typical McDonald's where they go and ask you, would you like fries with that? Or would you like large or small? Or would you like an apple pie? There's always an add-on question because they know that that add-on question equals profit. And it equals a lot of profit because the majority of the sale goes to the bottom line because the costs are already being covered by the first sale. I'll give you an example. I was working with a Subway client of mine, and they were struggling to get their average sale up. And the reason they were struggling was that the manager and the team felt that no one in Cork would want a foot-long Subway. And Subway's profit is in asking the question, do you want a foot-long instead of a 6-inch Subway? But they were of the belief that no one in Cork wanted a foot-long, so they never asked the question. But when they started to ask the question, they started to get extra sales and they started to make profit in the business. So you've got to understand, you've got to ask for it, you've got to suggest other things. The easiest way to get it up is to train your team or put your prices up or offer a different higher margin product to your customers. So that, again, there's about 60 or 70 different strategies you can apply to your business to get your average sale up. They're all equally effective. They can all be applied to your business. The key thing is, are you brave enough to do it? And do you understand the consequences of doing it? And do you understand the consequences of increased profit rather than increased sales at lower margin? There's huge differences. After that, then, we move on quickly to the number of transactions. Now, very simply, number of transactions is about, how do you get your customers to come back time and time again? The only way you can do that is if you know who they are, what their address is, what their email is, what their mobile is, or what their home address is, so you can communicate with them. Most people never, ever communicate with their customers at all. I have a car dealer client, and they do not communicate with their customers in case there's a problem with the car. So they'd rather put their head in the sand rather than deal with the problem. So I'm saying to them, communicate with them because they'll come back to you. And even if they come back with a problem, better that they come back to you than go somewhere else and complain. So we're gradually winning them over in that battle, and we're starting to write to customers now. And it works because they start to recommend you and they start to remember you. So the key thing with number of transactions is get all your customers on a database and start communicating with them. There's money in your old customers if only you go after them. Not all of them might want to buy from you again, but some of them will, but you need to remind them. But people don't do it. They'd rather put an ad in paper and waste money and go advertising for new customers when there are existing customers there waiting to buy. Go after them. So we move on then to the fifth area, which is the number of leads, which is your marketing. How do you get more people into your business? How do you tell people about you? And the big challenge that everyone has right now is that newspaper advertising is a waste of time and it's the most expensive. And yes, it is, and yes, it is. And it always will be unless you do one thing. Unless you measure every advert you put out in your business, advertising is always going to cost you money, and you're always going to be disillusioned with advertising. But what if you actually advertise 10 times in a newspaper, you measured each one, and you understood how each one worked, and you made a better decision the next time as to where you place your ad, what you would say on your ad? It would actually make it much easier to advertise. Now, I'm not a big fan of newspaper advertising because it's so hit and miss, and we're also presented right now with so many different other ways of advertising that are free. The web is free, Facebook is free, the whole social media network is free, but people are afraid of it, they don't want to take advantage of it. Simple things like signage. Once you do a sign, it's there forever. Vehicle signage. Once you do a vehicle sign, it's there forever. It's advertising your business all the time. But people don't want to do it because they don't want to be too in your face. You're in business to make a profit. Do whatever it takes in this day and age. We're here to survive in 2011 and make a profit, not to be all nice and then go broke. So the most important thing is get your name out there. Make sure you're very clear about what it is you do. Make sure that anyone, including your mother, could go and explain to someone else what it is you do, how good you are at it, and why they should choose you over anyone else. The key thing about that as well is that if you can explain to people why someone should choose you over someone else, you're automatically steering people away from price. And one of the biggest detractors to business right now is that people keep getting beaten up on price, which adversely affects the margin. The topic will always be on price unless you give them a reason other than price to think about you. So that's your responsibility again. So if you're having too many price debates right now, go back, get above the line and say, I need to understand how to differentiate myself clearly. Even if you're in a price-driven commodity market, there are reasons other than price as to why people buy from you. And you need to understand them, and you need to make sure that the customer understands them. And there might be 10 reasons, there might only be one reason that applies to that customer. It's your responsibility at that point to find out what that one reason is and hammer it home to the customer. So if a customer wants to hire a plumber, and one plumber is €1,000 and another one is €800, he's automatically going to think, I'll go for the €800 one. But if the 800 euro one is unreliable and never turns up in his sales email, what price then? How much value does the guy have on that? Whereas if the 1,000 euro guy says, I'll turn up and I say I will, I'll always do the work on time, we'll be delighted and I'll guarantee my work for a year, or whatever he says, that's the difference of 800 and 1,000. And the guy who pays 1,000 will have value in that forever. But that's your responsibility. But so many people are afraid of it because they never had to, over the past 10 years, differentiate themselves because the business is coming to them. So very quickly then, I'll just explain how, if you apply strategies across the board to those areas, what impact does it have? So we're saying with just a 10% increase across the board there, so that's our existing business. So if we do some work on marketing and we get a 10% increase on our number of leads, we get up to 8,800. We do a 10% increase on our conversion rate, so we stop asking people, can I help you? Or we make a return phone call, we follow it up or whatever, improves conversion rate. We now have 2,420 customers. We improve our number of transactions by actually communicating with our past customers, by contacting them, by phoning them, by sending them a birthday card, whatever it is, asking them to come back. We also get 110 euro average from each of them. Now we won't win with them all, but we'll win with some and we'll win big with some. So everyone will think then with a 10% increase, but that's definitely going to take our revenue to 440,000, that's brilliant. But no, our revenue actually goes to 585,000. And the difference is it's a multiple, it's a 10% by 10% by 10% by 10%. We then focus on our margin, and our margin goes from 25% to 27.5%, and therefore our profits, they don't go to 110,000 euro, they actually go to 161,000 euro in profit. How much debt could you pay off this year if your business made you an extra 61,000 euro? Would you be on the pig's back? Now the question is, how badly do you want that, and are you focused enough to go and get that today? Are you prepared to do the hard yard? Are you prepared to put the spotlight back on yourself and turn it around and actually make that happen? So what that represents is a 46% increase in your revenue and a massive 61% increase in your profit. And that's the key today, is to try and get out of debt by increasing your profit. Going back, it's so easy to do it if you just concentrate on all the areas. Increasing your profit is not about spending more money on marketing. There's so much more to it than that. Okay? So, the question is, do you want to reduce your debt? Okay? We've covered what we intended to cover tonight about the 5 ways to improve your profit. The key thing now is, do you want to reduce your debt? And our special offer to you tonight is 2 hours of time with myself and Kevin. Okay? 1 hour with Kevin, 1 hour with myself. But we're only making it available to the first 5 people that email us tonight to say, I am serious about this, and I'm willing to spend that hour within the next week to actually improve my business. And that's worth 497 euro right now. And I'm guaranteeing you that by spending that hour, you will actually get thousands of euro worth of value as long as you put it to practice in your business. Very often people get the advice and do nothing with it. We're challenging you that if you take us up on that hour and put the things into practice, you will get thousands of euro worth of value today in your business. And we're just valuing our time at that point, but think of the value you're going to get when you actually put the things into practice in your business tomorrow. Even if it's a simple thing like an improved credit control strategy or an improved payment strategy that allows you to negotiate better because you've got money in your bank. So the question is, are you serious about your business, or are you too comfortable where you are right now? So we have a limited number of free places. So if you want one of those free places, you need to send an email now to derek.wire@actioncoach.com, and we'll get back to you. It is limited to the first 5 people only that reply to us, and they have to be available to make that call next week at a time that's convenient for both Kevin, myself, and one of the lucky 5 people. Kevin, would you like to add anything else at this point in time?
Yeah, that's 5 ways talking of their excellence. I'm well used to it. It does work. Derek has some excellent books on each of those 5 ways, because lead generation is obviously people around you, conversion is getting them to look at you, average spend is getting them to spend money with you, frequency is getting them to come back to you, and margin is making money out of them, you know. So I was looking at people's reasons coming on the call tonight, and getting paid and getting known seem to be 2 major problems out there at the moment. But just, I suppose my point is mindset. You need to make the decision now to do something, okay? I say this to clients all the time. They come in with great intentions, and I say, right, you need to walk out of here acting on them not saying, okay, next Monday I'm really going to have a start of this. It has to happen now. And the sooner you get going, you'd be surprised. You start to feel better, and certainly, it's a lot easier to attract money into your bank account when you're not under financial pressure and under financial strain, because you just cannot think straight when that situation is upon you. So take, whoever the first five are for the offer, and we've done this before and it always works well, I'd act on it,
Okay. So what we've got, we're open to questions now. So if there's any question that you'd like to put to us, type it in on the screen right now. So I've got one question here, and it is a very pertinent question. It says, I've got lots of various debts. Which should I pay off first? Kevin, do you want to take that?
Yeah. Okay, various debts. The first thing is write them down, because we all think we've got debts. So some of them are good, there's no such thing as good debt, but some of them are necessary debts, such as a lease on a piece of equipment required for your business. Okay, so don't worry about that one. That should be able to pay its way. The ones you want to pay first are the ones that are not tax deductible, because not only are you paying interest on certain debts, but you're paying tax on the interest as well. So I'll give you an example. Your credit card. We dealt with this on the previous webinar, okay, on how to handle this. You start with the credit card, and you start with hire purchase, and you start with actually cutting out the fat in your spending as well. But you start with the credit card, then you start on hire purchase for furniture and items like TVs and all that in the house. The car has to go as well, the debt on that, and there's ways to get rid of that. So credit card, car, hire purchase, that all goes first, and then we start dealing with the real stuff such as mortgages. And we have a way to get you out of your mortgage in 7 years. Log on to, Derek has the emails, if you log on to my website even, kevinbarry.ie, the second webinar deals with this very head on. And it's been done tons of times. Not that hard. Not easy, but always possible.
Okay. I have another question in here. I'm in retail and my clients don't seem to have money. How can I increase my clients' numbers? Okay, well, if I were to answer that question, you've got to say, okay, well, if you're in retail and your clients don't seem to have money, is that a belief that you have or is that fact? Okay, once you've established that, if you believe that none of your clients have money, then you might need to start marketing to a different client base. And it might only need to be a 1 or 2 or 3, 4, 5% change in how you're marketing or the message that you're giving out. There's a whole thing about the law of attraction, and you attract a certain type of clients to your business. So what does your business say to your clients? If the clients you're attracting in don't have money, then they're no good for your business. They're not going to increase your profitability. You need to say, I need a different clientele. Okay, if you're in a business that's all about where you live and the geography you're in, that's a different situation. But maybe the product you're offering isn't relevant. So you need to actually look at the product you're offering, the value you're offering, and your ability to target different types of clients. Okay. So
Can I come in on that one too, Derek?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just one that's extremely relevant to a discussion I had today. A lady in retail, giftware actually, in Galway City. Same thing, clients that seem to have money. Anyway, she wants to do a massive sale, which wipes out her margin and just turns her stocks back into the money that she invested in the first place. Good little trick on that. She did a very successful raffle at Christmas, and she wanted to put ads in the paper and ads on Galway Bay FM, so I completely put a stop to that immediately. So that saved 3,000 of dead money. She had 100 names minimum of people who did a little raffle over Christmas, and she's now she's their name and mobile number. She's now sending them a little free mobile text message inviting them to the opening or to the preview of her sale on the 1st of February in her shop at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. where wine will be served. So the sale starts the next day. She's now only discounting certain high margin items that can take it, okay, and not the low margin stuff. But the customers who've done business with her before, they get either a postcard or a text message, say, come to my shop on this evening for 2 hours, wine and cheese, and you'll get a preview of the sale that starts the next day. And if she only gets 30 or 40 ladies or fellas in there that night, she'll sell plenty because of a great shop. But she needs them all there kind of competing against each other for the bargains. So there's a little hint. And those 30 or 40 or 50 will walk out of there spreading the word about the great sale because they got the heads up on it. Just a little tip.
Okay. Another question for you here, Kevin. I'm overdue on my revenue payments, and despite my best efforts, they will not accept my proposed repayment plan. Is there anything that I can do?
There's a few. Okay, I'll just go back. The main reasons why are you behind on the revenue payments? I suspect it's struggling to get paid, or struggling to make a sale in the first place if people aren't coming in the door. It's a bigger problem. Okay, the bigger problem is you need to address your margin and address getting paid. If someone just hasn't paid you in 6 or 8 months, I have a very good access to very good solicitors who are very reasonable, and when that registered letter goes in the door, you'll, again, by having a process there, money will come in without you having to stress yourself out. I'll come back to your main question. What you're trying to do there is do a deal with the revenue to stop having to make the hard decision with people who owe you money, or in making an investment in knowledge and catapulting your business forward. That's the only way out. Catapult the business forward, or make the hard decision on getting paid and setting up the rules of the game. If the revenue aren't accepting your proposal, maybe try a different person for now, but I'm not trying to give you the easy way out here. You've got liquidation facing you, okay? And if you're a sole trader, you don't even have that. The next stop is a revenue sheriff, and if he comes hanging around, you don't want it happening, okay? You need to address getting paid and making the sales, and go back to Derek's 5 ways. And actually, I'll whoever put that question down there, I'll make this one very clear. You need to go with this 1 hour free that we're offering. Okay, there's a bigger decision here than dealing with the revenue.
Okay. Okay, the next one then is, I guess the question back to us is, how are your clients doing in the current climate? Are they making profit? And I'd say, in the main, yes, they are. And the ones that are making a profit are the ones that are taking action, or putting the strategies in place, and stepping outside their comfort zone and doing whatever it takes. Sometimes I have clients that still want to work very much 9 to 5. They don't want to do anything outside their comfort zone. They don't want to take the steps that they know they should take. They know the steps that they hired us for in the first place to teach them. So we have to continue to push them. And when they start to make the moves, and when they start to make the changes, they start to see the results. So I would say, by and large, they're holding their own. They're not losing any more money, and they're actually putting in place strategies to improve it. I'll give you an example of a client last year where we decided last February, where the product mix that they had was very commodity based. It was very price driven. You know, the customer could always go and get it cheaper, and the customers were very price sensitive. So we got in a new product, which is a complete niche product. It gave my client a margin of about 40%, where they were normally used to about 25%. They started to target specific customers with this product all through the year, and they probably sold upwards of €100,000 towards the back end of the year of this product because we continued to market it. That €100,000 sale there was as good as $250,000 sales of their typical item. And that product is a repeat business product. It is a unique product. It's got a niche. We know exactly who to target, so it's a perfect product because it ticks all the boxes. A lot of clients, where their peers in the marketplace are going backwards, we're managing to hold their own and maintain sales or slightly more sales. So it's a tricky question because every client is different, their attitude to life is different, but in the main, they're trying to take positive steps to grow their business. But yes, I would say generally yes. How about yours, Kevin?
Yeah, same thing. I'll be extremely brief. Time is moving on. Yeah, we started this even in the good times. It was still hard to make money, okay? But you could always sell something, or you could always get a loan if you ran short. And there was a comfort zone there, not having to kind of upset people by denying them credit or seizing their goods back or that type of thing. But two of them said that the two most recent that we turned around from losses to profits, okay? The key was they knew their break-even point, and they knew their margins. So in other words, they knew how much money they had to make every day in order to cover their costs. So both of those have done that. Hard decisions taken where people were fired, wages were cut, and this is a line that won't hurt anyone's feelings, okay, to any staff member. Okay, it's a team effort, okay, so unless we're making money out of each of you, either our jobs will be cut or hours will be cut. So we need everyone singing from the same hymn sheet. So this is how we sell, and there you go from there. So
Okay.
yeah, everyone's holding their own.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. I guess the other thing as well, the offer is the free hours from us. They're free. They're available. The first 5 people tonight that send us an email saying, yes, I want to take advantage of your free offer. Like I said before, You will get thousands euro worth of value from the call as long as you put the strategies into place. And we'll show you how to put them into place because they're all simple strategies. But you have to take action. Like I go back to my earlier slide, it's about you taking ownership of your business and you making the necessary moves, not abdicating responsibility to someone else. We will show you how. Okay, so is there any other questions out there before we go? And again, in that hours where you can ask any particular business about any aspect of business. Between myself and Kevin, we've run businesses, we've worked with businesses of all shapes, all sizes. So I don't think there's any question you can put to us that we wouldn't be able to help you with, or we wouldn't have access to the resource that we can help you with as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you all very much for your participation this evening. Send off the email now if you want to take advantage of the offer. I urge you to do it if you're serious about growing your business. But thank you again from myself. Kevin, do you want to say anything final before we go?
No, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming on, but I read a point lately that in the Great Depression of 1929 in the US of A, enormous fortunes were made by a few people out of that depression. So it all starts with small business getting bigger. So each of you who are on this, I wish you all the best, and I hope a few of you will take advantage of the no obligation offer. And there's money to be made, so go make it.
Okay. Okay, and thank you all very much again, and we look forward to you having you on our next webinar, which will be communicated to you over the next few weeks. So that's it for tonight. Thank you, and good night.